In 2010, Porsche introduced their four-door sports car, the Panamera. And that car was met with mixed reviews, not because of its performance, mainly because of its styling. So for 2017, Porsche redesigned the entire car from the ground up, inside and out. This is the latest addition to the Panamera family. It's the Panamera E-Hybrid. And guess where we are? We're in South Africa to find out more about it. This new car shares nothing with its predecessor, and it's built off a brand new platform. Overall, it's a little bit bigger. It's 34 millimeters longer, 6 millimeters wider, and 5 millimeters taller. And they shaved 20 millimeters off the fly line over the slope area above the rear passengers. Sure, the first generation Panamera did have a little bit of an odd look, but I really didn't mind it too much. But when you look at this new one, wow, it really looks so much better. The previous one had a great front end, but the back end just didn't seem like it belonged. This new generation is so much more cohesive, and the design really flows from the front to the back. The front features a sporty power dome as well as quad LEDs, and that rear slope just looks so much more sporty. Porsche's goal was to have the new Panamera take on the looks of a Carrera, and I think they achieved it. This 4E hybrid has the same great styling as its gas-only siblings, other than a few green accents and of course the extra cover for the charger port. Inside, first thing you notice, it's got a huge screen now. Massive, massive, massive. And the advantage of this screen, you have a lot of real estate. You can do split screens. You see your media, your Navi at the same time. Backup camera with a 360 degree. It's so clear. And then in the middle, behind the steering wheel, you have that classic Porsche round gauge for the tachometer. Then you have your high tech, because on either side, flanking that single gauge, you have two kind of oval-shaped screens. They're configurable from the steering wheel. They have everything from your speedometer, your Navi, everything is mimicked what's on the big screen. So now let's get to the center. If you watched my other review of the Panamera, the previous generation, I was a huge fan of that center console with all those buttons. It's like a cockpit. So this is still a cockpit, but what they've went to is almost a virtual console now. Sure, you have a dial here for your inputs, and you have a couple toggles for your heating controls. Thank goodness for that, because the rest of it is just a touchscreen. It's a black lacquer finish touchscreen. Personally, I don't get it. Why? Well, I can understand if it would save you a bunch of room, but it doesn't. It's going to get fingerprints. Take, for instance, the temperature, the toggles. If I'm driving, all I have to do is reach down. I can feel the left is going to be the temperature, the right's going to be the fan. I can do that without looking down. This system, you actually have to look down. Okay, where's my heated seat? There it is there. So really not a big fan, and I wish they still had the buttons. One thing that is the same, huge fan of, the previous version had on the door, remember, it has a locking cam, meaning wherever you hold the door, it's going to stay there. And I was a big fan of that, because if you have kids, if you park it on an incline, on a hill, it's going to hold there, and it's not going to try to swing out with that detent. So this one also has soft closed doors. Now you can outfit your Panamera however you want. The new Panamera also has a longer wheelbase, giving rear seat passengers more legroom. And even though the roofline is lower, headroom is close to the same as the old one. This one is equipped with screens in the backrest. The interesting thing though is these screens are actually tablets that you can actually remove. Regardless if you're in the front or the back, this interior does not disappoint. I could easily fit a couple of car seats back there, so this would be a very good candidate for the child household. Further back in the cargo area, about the same amount of room, but on this E-Hybrid, you do lose out a little bit because of where the charger is. The charger is back there, so you don't get as much width as you do on the standard Panamera. So once you get into the Panamera, turn it on, you're ready to go. You hear this little clunking, but the engine does not come on. It automatically defaults into electric mode. So we put it into gear and we go. We're under E-Power. It's totally silent. Just because this Panamera E-Hybrid has hybrid in the name does not mean that this is not an engaging performer. This car performs very, very, very well. So what's different? Well, everything has been changed. Of course, we talked about the outside, the inside, and so under the hood now, a 2.9 liter twin turbo V6 engine. It puts out 330 horsepower and 331 foot-pounds of torque. So that's matched with an electric system that has 136 horsepower and 295 foot-pounds of torque. So you add that all up, that gives you 462 horsepower and a whopping 516 foot-pounds of torque. So the difference is the previous E-Hybrid Panamera, you would actually have to press the accelerator down to about 80% and more in order to get that electric boost to come on with the gas engine. Now it's instant right from startup. As soon as you push it, you get the electric boost. So let's talk about this electric drive, the E-Power we're on right now. We are on the freeway. We're doing 128 kilometers per hour and the gas engine is not running whatsoever. That is amazing. Considering this is not a pure electric car, this is a hybrid, a plug-in hybrid. You can go 140 kilometers an hour just on electric. Range-wise, depending on how you drive it, you have up to 50 kilometers of electric-only range. The E-Hybrid can be fully charged from a 220 outlet in approximately 5.8 hours, and only 3.6 hours if you choose an optional 7.2 kilowatt onboard charger. Now you have a drive selector on the right-hand side and this dial. We're in E right now, we're gonna go to H. Now that engine just kicked on, and that's the hybrid mode, which this really operates just like a conventional hybrid that you'd find. And then we go on to S, which is Sport. And Sport gives you the best of all worlds. You get the hybrid drive, but then you also get that electric boost as well. In Sport mode, it's also charging the battery for you quite a bit as well. And then there's one more drive mode, and that is Sport Plus. Now, as soon as I did that, you hear the transmission change. Talk about transmissions. Another thing new for this E-Hybrid is the previous generation had an 8-speed conventional automatic transmission. This new one, an 8-speed PDK transmission, so that dual clutch setup. Now, I don't know if it's on purpose or not, or these are early production models. Around the town or in the city sometimes, on the downshifts, when you're slowing down, it could be a little bit kind of almost indecisive. It happened a couple times. Maybe it's the way that I'm actually driving it, maybe, but otherwise, quite engaging to drive. You have paddle shifters as well on the steering wheel. You can gear it down, and you would never think that you're driving a plug-in hybrid. The bonus of the plug-in hybrid, of course, you have the 50-kilometer range of electric only. But what good is that? Well, in my case, it's perfect. I spend so much money on fuel because we do a lot of short trips. Even driving my daughter to daycare is about 2 kilometers away, but you start the car up, it's going through its warm-up cycle, and it's burning a lot of fuel, unnecessary fuel. With the plug-in hybrid, you could, first of all, you can condition your cars so you can have the heat on if it's plugged in at home, and then when you get into it, it's nice and toasty, and you can just drive. Start it up, the engine doesn't kick on, you're in E mode, you just drive, do all your errands around the house, and you wouldn't have used a sip of fuel at all. Another advantage, depending on where you live, you can drive a lot of these plug-in hybrids now in the HOV lanes. So that's a huge bonus. Standard is also all-wheel drive on this e-hybrid, making it a perfect all-weather contender. The e-hybrid really is everything in one package. You have the great styling, and then depending on how you feel, what your mood is, I might just want to just cruise on the freeway here. You have lane keeping assist, blind spot warning. You have all the latest advanced safety features, and you can just relax. And the seats are so comfy, whether you're driving or in the back there. And then if you wanted to have a little bit more sportiness, you can turn that dial into sport mode or sport plus. You could adjust that suspension. You could carve some canyons. It's great to drive in the city. It's very easy. Visibility is excellent. The backup cameras are just fabulous. And then, of course, you just gotta love the electrical system. This car is just so high tech. Let's put it in right now. That tachometer just went to 0. We are doing 116 kilometers an hour in 7th gear. And we're on electric only. Think about this. This car has over 460 horsepower, and it can achieve, on average driving, mixed driving, a fuel economy number of under 3 liters per 100K. And is not boring to drive at all. We're kind of really driving the future right now. People might think, oh, you know, it's like pure electric is the future. Well, at this point right now, pure electric is not for everyone. It won't work for everyone. Now this is a really good alternative. You get the best of all worlds. On that drive selector knob on the steering wheel, there is a button. And when you push that, this is kind of like a push to pass in a race car. Anyways, we're gonna push that. And what that does is it optimizes every little bit of performance on this vehicle. So if you want to use it for passing, for instance, you can do that. And there's a countdown. You have 20 seconds. If you don't want to use it, you just unclick it. This car even sounds good. It's definitely not your average hybrid. The Panamera E-Hybrid starts at just over $113,000 Canadian. And get this, the Panamera 4S starts at $114,000. So this is actually less money. And it has more power. You can drive it in just electric, and depending where you live, it might even qualify for some rebates. So if it were my decision, I'd pick this one. And I think it would look good in my driveway. If you liked the video, hit the thumbs up, and if you want to see more everyday reviews, hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching. Gas mode. Oh, I want it a little quieter. Let's. Oh.
Now turn left.
It's silent. Look at that.